Chappie, he says, I rewatched Carrie remake, very underrated remake. I don't know if I'd say underrated, although I do enjoy it. But, you know, and I used to love that remake to death. But it's one of those movies where when I went back and watched it, it wasn't as good, but it's still fun. But I think one thing that hurt it was I recently rewatched the original because I was in a mad De Palma mood. The original is just a classic, such a masterpiece. And I think it's highly rewatchable. Like somebody on Killer Flick said the other day that the original, I'm going down a rabbit hole here. Bear with me. Hey, Ashley, how are you doing? I like talking topics, okay? Let me, you know what? Maybe I'll clip this little topic out, okay? And this isn't a trick question, okay? 2 questions. First, is the original Halloween dated? That's the first question. Number 2, do you mind that it's dated? Like, does it hurt the movie that it's dated? Is dated in general a bad thing? Because I started thinking about this. Sometimes I'll start thinking about, you know, sometimes I try to think, but nothing happens. But sometimes I start formulating all these, like, debates with myself in my head. Okay, so Halloween, is it dated? I don't know if there's a right answer to that. And my response is there are things that are dated in it, like the clothing, of course, because it's set in 1978. But hell, even today they have movies that are set in the 70s. Hell, even the Sacrifice game that I just watched is set in 1971, I think. And technically, yes, that's dated, but I find that hella charming. Don't you love when you're watching a horror movie from today and you see a 1978 Chevrolet driving in the background? Doesn't that kind of just add something to it? Or would you rather watch a modern day car in the background? Not that it matters, but so somebody said that they didn't like Halloween because it was dated. Cactus Jack, what's up, man? And my response is, yeah, I guess it's dated, but Michael Myers and Loomis, I think those goats are freaking, they transcend. They're not dated. They live on forever. I mean, proof's in the pudding. The only reason that Loomis hasn't, you know, resurfaced is because Donald Pleasance is no longer with us, and he's probably one of the hardest characters on Earth to recast. And also, my rebuttal to that is most movies that I like, I guess, would be considered dated because they came out in like the early 80s. And that's my favorite era of cinema. Like, I love early 80s. There's just, not just horror. There's just something about the way those movies look. There's something about the style of acting in those movies and the characters. And even plot-wise, I think those movies are a little different. But just because maybe the way life was back then was different, I don't know. So, if Halloween's dated, then that's fine. Dated is not a bad thing for me. It's not necessarily a bad thing. I guess the only way it could be a bad thing is if there's a style of acting that's just not for you. Like, say, movies from like the 60s. They're going to have a certain style of acting. And it's not really for everyone, right? So, but it's, you know what? I love the feel and the look of the original Halloween. Then take how Alien was shot, or a Clockwork Orange. Now, I guess on the flip side of that, because it's sci-fi, I think Alien, the first Alien, is timeless. It's not dated at all, right? I mean, you might, if you got really, really nitpicky, you could say maybe the hairstyles a little bit, but hairstyles come and go, you know? It seems like the hairstyle of like the 70s, it always kind of creeps back up anyway. I love, oh my God, I freaking love Alien. We're gonna cover an Alien story tonight that I don't even know what's gonna come out of it. I don't even know what's gonna come out of it. It could be insane, all right? And it's not about Alien Romulus. I don't think it is. Yeah, somebody asked earlier, what's my most anticipated? If Romulus sees the light of day this year, then that's probably, because I'm such an Alien fan, that's probably my most anticipated. Sean Sheridan, channel member, he says, Halloween ages like a fine wine, and I don't like Annie. That's my only negative with Halloween. You know, and guys, let me know in the chat, do you like Annie? And I can say like Tina from Halloween 5. I hated her at one point, and then she kind of grew on me, and I don't know if I have to blame the internet for that. I don't think I ever disliked Annie, but I for a time I thought she was just kind of there, and I didn't appreciate her. Now I really appreciate Annie because it's three different character archetypes, right? Annie and Linda and Lori are all three different types of characters. They're not really alike, you know? Lori is the bookworm, I guess. She's, for lack of a better term, I guess the virgin of the story, even though we don't know if she's actually. But and then you got Annie, who seems like she's down for a good time, but she seems like she's got a brain in her head. Like she's, I guess a normal woman. And that sounds horrible the way I'm saying it, but that's you know what I mean. And then Linda is the other end of the spectrum, right? Linda, she wants to have a good time, but she always wants to have a good time, and she's totally and all that. I think Deborah Hill nailed that aspect of Halloween, those three girls. Because a lot of times in horror movies today, the characters, a lot of them it's hard to differentiate outside of their hair color, right? They really paid attention to that stuff back then. Cold Truth. He says, back to what you were saying about Loomis. Is there anyone that comes to mind you think could fit the script and do justice to Donald Pleasence? Well, the Halloween Returns script by Patrick Melton and Marcus Dunstan. In that script, at the very end, Loomis surfaces, and it literally says in the script, Gary Oldman. It says Gary Oldman with the eyes of a chopping block. To give you, to make it descriptive. And right away I was like, oh, that could work. Because Gary Oldman is such an amazing actor. So, outside of Gary Oldman, I remember Barry from Wolfman's Got Nards. The guy that was in Last Voyage of Demeter, and he was in Game of Thrones. That guy could probably be a good Loomis. He even has the look. You guys know what I'm talking about? But Gary Oldman's like the right age for it now too, and I think he would really put some depth into that character because Malcolm McDowell just wasn't Loomis. And I don't know if that's just how Rob Zombie told him to play it. I can't imagine Rob Zombie telling a veteran actor like Malcolm McDowell, this is exactly how I want you to play it. I think what he did was he said, don't watch the original Halloween, because Malcolm McDowell had never watched the original. And he said, just play it like you want it. But I think Malcolm really, he didn't hit it right. And sometimes I think the characters around you can affect you as a character. And I think maybe that's what it was, because a lot of the characters in the first Rob Zombie's Halloween, it was a little bit on the trashy side. And maybe Loomis just doesn't fit well in that world. I don't know. Because Malcolm McDowell is a great actor. But, sometimes you take a swing and you miss. And I think that's what happened. I don't think he landed right. Because some of the lines were pretty much verbatim what Donald Pleasence would state. And we're so used to Donald Pleasence's version of it that it just sounds like discount Walmart, right? It doesn't sound like, Coke. It sounds like RC Cola. Cactus Jack says, I was pretty happy when Michael killed Loomis at the end of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I was too, if I'm being honest. Just because, and I didn't even, I think I liked Loomis maybe a little better in the first one than the second one. Because in the second one, he was just full-blown, complete asshole. So, but I get what they were trying to do, because I love Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. But that doesn't feel like your normal Halloween movie. So, yeah, I am not the danger. I am the danger. I am the one who knocks. Man, so many great lines. What's up, guys? You are at the end of the DD Live clip. What I do is I like to clip these out if I think the topic is important or something that's newsworthy. So thank you for watching. And if you want to watch more, you can go over here. You can go over here, click on one of those. And yeah, and hopefully I can do this for 20 seconds, which I think I did. Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching, guys.